helping coaches. Perfect. Okay. Richard from Cloud9, world's first only cloud-based issuer processor, launched 6 weeks ago. Looking to work with banks, banks and fintechs. Really interested in that. Let's have a look then. Nice. Just trying to get them automated. Brilliant, guys. So it's 3 minutes past 9, 5 past 11. What we're going to do, we're going to get straight into this for you. As I said earlier, what we're going to go over today, bear with me, having a few tech issues here. Sorry, bear with me. Let me just sort that out. Can you still see the screen? Yeah, perfect, brilliant. Spot on. Okay, so what we're going to go over today for you guys, okay, we're going to first look at how to make December productive. What can we do to really make a last year push and not sort of relax as we go into the end of the year? Then we're going to look at communicating with our existing pipeline. What can we be doing with our current contacts, our lapsed deals, our current clients, our new clients, prospective clients, and then how to really build the foundations for a quality lead generation strategy for 2023. Typically, when we host our webinars, we do talk about lead generation and generating new business, but I thought December is a great time to look at your existing clients and also your existing pipeline and really maximize revenue from those foundations before looking at new business. So we're going to cover both areas today for you guys, okay? So how to make December productive. Firstly, customer service. December is a great time of the year to reach out to people. Now, I don't know how solid people's customer service procedures are on this call and how much you value them within your business, but your existing clients are the life of your business, okay? So December is a great excuse to get in touch with these people, have a conversation with them, even if you haven't done for the last 10, 9, 8 months. But if you're not having regular touch points, now's the time to really speak to them. You know, going to our existing customers, firstly, making sure they're happy with the service they're receiving from our business, okay? But secondly, also that question of referrals, okay? Very honest and open conversation with your existing clients will get you referrals. My biggest tip when it comes to getting referrals of existing clients is not asking them for referrals as a general term, putting a number on it. So, Mr. Customer, can you provide me with 2 people that you think could benefit from our service? Now we put a number on that, that client's going to make a conscious effort to find you 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you think is realistic for your client. So whether we have a good customer service process or whether we don't, December is a great time to really reach out to our customers. Because just like us, you know, come the 19th of December, okay, a lot of people, and I'm sure people on this call as well, you will start to wind down and things will start to get slower as you run into the Christmas period. Well, let's use this time to really touch base with our clients to make sure when we come back in 2023, they're still very much built in to our process. They understand what the next steps are in the new year, and that 2-week delay between Christmas and the new year doesn't hinder any continuation of services or products that you may be providing with your clients, okay? Number 2, lapsed clients. Can I just have a yes or a no if you have an existing list of your lapsed clients, if you hold this data? Either use the chat function or whatever's easy for everyone. No one yet? Okay, so December, on CRM, perfect, Janet, brilliant. December's a great time to reach out to lapsed clients, and there's 2 reasons for this, okay? Your first reason is to really understand from them why they lapsed, okay? People get really nervous about having these conversations with your existing or lapsed clients because they feel they may have lapsed due to service. I can promise you your lapsed clients will appreciate you making a conscious effort to at least find out why they lapsed rather than not getting in touch with them at all. A lot of people feel like, you know, why should we go back to them? They lapsed. They may have lapsed for a variety of reasons. It's our job to firstly find out where they lapsed, understand the feedback we're getting, and then try and better our service so this doesn't happen. And secondly, by having the conversation, they may be having some challenges with their current provider or supplier where we could win the business back because they already know how your business operates. They already know you. So why do we need to go to new business when there's a list of lapsed clients here which could provide a nice chunk of revenue going into the first quarter of 2023? So a lot of people sort of avoid lapsed clients. I think we should really prioritize our lapsed clients, look at them. And of course, there's going to be someone there that you may choose as a business that you don't want to work with. I wouldn't recommend reaching out to them, but I'm sure there's some gems in there that you really want to work with again. Let's engage with them. And once again, Christmas is that excuse for that conversation. It doesn't have to be a business type conversation. We can really use Christmas, December as an excuse just to catch up with someone. Okay, so let's be looking at our lapsed clients as well. Identifying upselling and cross-selling opportunities. This is also really important in December. Okay, so as we go into the new year, if you have other services, other products, you have new services coming, we should be listing our existing client base on the left side of an Excel spreadsheet. We should have across the top all of our service offerings. We should have the box that they're currently buying highlighted in green, and then we should be marking every other box that they could be purchasing from us in yellow. Once we have this grid that we can work from, you can provide us to your BD, you can provide us to your sales guy. If you are the salesperson yourself, you can use it. We've now identified X amount of revenue with our existing client base. So for example, let's talk about your lead machine here. Okay, we offer social media management. Typically, we work with trades for this service. We also know the trades require call answering. But so we will use December as a time to reach out to our clients. They already know the business, they understand how we work, and then try and get them on our call answering service as well. Not all your service will be applicable to all of your existing clients. It's really important to pick and choose the right services for each client so that when you reach out to them, it doesn't feel like a typical sales call. I received a call the other day from my existing telecoms provider, get on really well with the owner of the business. We don't ever have to speak. He's hired a new salesperson. We spoke to them and the conversation was, do you need mobiles? Not how are you, how's things, how's the service? Straight away, do you need business mobiles? And it was a bit of an awkward conversation because her boss would know that we don't need business mobiles. So it's really important to identify the right opportunities to not tarnish your reputation with that client. So having this grid will really help you, your team, whoever's doing the selling to identify those opportunities. And finally, analyzing the sales and marketing data you've collected in 2022. Something that's really important to do towards the end of this year is realize things are changing. You know, a lot of people talk about the cost of living crisis. We try and keep that phrase out of our mouth, you know, in marketing and sales at the moment, because it is on everyone's minds. But let's really appreciate that with our strategies for next year. What can we change? What can we change in our literature, our messaging, our vocabulary when we speak to really address the situations? What have you seen? You may have gone into 2022 in January thinking that, you know, this is the messaging that's going to work. What's changed for you in your target verticals? Because that will change again in 2023. So if you're not adapting through the data you've collected in 2022, sometimes those deals that we lose are the greatest blessings in sales and marketing because we can understand why we lost them and we can adapt our offering and our service to them, okay? So really having a look at what we have as a service, what we have as a data, and then looking at that and go, right, we need to change this, we need to change our messaging slightly, maybe this target vertical wasn't correct. A lot of people don't spend enough time analyzing why certain things didn't happen in the year. December is a great time for that, okay? So then we move on to existing pipeline. So I'm a firm believer every business should have a CRM of some sort. Shouldn't be using an Excel spreadsheet. You know, even the 365 CRM they offer is very sort of, it's not really specialist unless you have all the paid integrations for it. So using chatbots, what type of CRM are people using on this call? Janet, you mentioned earlier you use a CRM. What are you using? And this is for the other attendees as well. What CRMs are we using? HubSpot, very popular, yeah. Any others? Salesforce, Capsule, yeah. Active campaigns. Any others there? Okay. So obviously the big ones have come out here, right? So HubSpot, Salesforce, Capsule, Active Campaign. We've all probably heard of them. HubSpot, Salesforce in particular, okay, they have some great facilities in terms of integrations. So is it a time that we spend looking at how we can automate a lot of our sales process through our HubSpot and Salesforce? Okay, if we're not doing this, we need to be doing this. It can save a lot of time. I know Capsule has some form of automation, and I'm pretty sure Active Campaign does as well. If your CRM doesn't offer automation, maybe it might be a time to look elsewhere because a CRM is the core to any sales and marketing function. Okay. So what can we do with our existing pipeline? Well, once again, using December, using Christmas as the excuse, we can reach out to live deals. I'm sure a lot of people on this call, they probably have stale deals at the moment that have just completely gone cold. They don't know if they're going ahead, if they're pulling out. You know, people can start to use December as an excuse to not give you an answer. Well, let's flip that and let's use December as an excuse to talk to these people. Okay, let's ask for timelines. A lot of people, they don't reach out to live deals because they wait for people to come to them. But what we need to do is a bit forward thinking, proactive, and start speaking to these people. If you feel like you're going to phone them and you don't really have a reason to talk to them, now's the time. Okay, you will have good reason to talk to them in December, even if it is just 5% about the live deal. But in that 95% of that conversation, you could be building a bit of rapport, finding out a bit more about your client and really understanding them as a person. Okay. There's the whole gifting element as well. You know, you can look at that as a business if you want to look at that, but I know in certain industries it can obviously be seen as bribery as well. So we won't go too much into that. But if you can take your prospective client out, potentially meet them for lunch, meet them for dinner, potentially send some sort of merchandise to their office, now's the time to do it because you'll be memorable when the deal needs to be closed. Lost deals as well. So we look at lapsed clients. That's great. But do we look at lost deals? Do we look at deals we've lost throughout the year? Because just like you guys are on this call today, because you're thinking about your plans for 2023, December is a time for people to sit down and just think. And what they'll be doing, they'll be thinking about their suppliers, the services they're receiving, and if they're receiving them to a good level. A lot of people come to me and say, Coach, is December a waste of time for marketing? I think not. I think if you're going to launch your marketing in January, you're on the back foot. A lot of decisions are going to be made in December to be implemented in January. So if you've lost the deal, that's fine. Reach out to them. You know, unfortunately, you've chosen another supplier. Just thought I'd give you a call to see how you're getting on with that supplier. I'd be very surprised if a lot of businesses in this month are not looking at their suppliers and are potentially, with everything that's happening in the world as well, looking at what needs to change and what needs to be better. Potentially cost could come into this as well. So let's have a look at our lost deals too. Okay, engaging with stale contacts. So we've talked about stale live deals. What about our stale contacts? I'm sure everyone that's mentioned a CRM, you've probably got a contact or at least 50 contacts on there that you've probably not reached out to for the last 12 months. Once again, using December as the excuse to talk to someone, it's a great time to engage with our decision makers. Just like the decision makers on this call, they are going to be available to speak. Okay, they may have a week off, they may not have a week off, but sort of 15th December onwards, before the 23rd, 22nd, is a great time to speak to your decision makers. I think someone mentioned here they're working with coaches. These people are busy. I'd be surprised to see how many people are coaching between the 15th and the 22nd. Okay, they're probably getting their marketing, their sales functions in line. So what a great time to pick up the phone and go and speak to these people if we haven't for a while. So we can engage with stale contacts, okay? And database cleansing and data analysis. So if we're running automations from our CRM, from our pipeline, whether it's email sequences, whether it's LinkedIn automations, whatever we're running, we need to keep cleansing our database. So I get it, through January to November, you may not have time to sit there and actually look at your database. But if we've marketed to someone 2 or 3 times, we don't need to keep marketing to them, okay? These people are obviously not interested for whatever reason. Let's cleanse our database. We may want to add new prospects to our database. It's also a great time to go away, use LinkedIn, use 𝗤𝗰𝗱𝗲, use things like 𝗦𝘂𝗰𝗰𝗀𝘀𝗀 to find our next target prospects. How can we find them? We need time. We've got time. So if you find yourself not doing anything and you need to chuck in another 150 prospects to your funnel to really start marketing to, now is a great time to do that, okay? If you don't know, 𝗤𝗰𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗀 is a great website for company details, revenue, directors as well. Crunchbase gives you, it's a database website for startups, and it gives you founders' details and who's invested in what company. You've got Hunter.io, which is an email finder software. And then obviously we've got our LinkedIn sales navigators as well, and companies' relevant websites. So there's sort of 5 good places that you can really find targeted prospects if you're operating in a targeted niche industry, okay? How to get your lead generation strategy ahead of the rest for 2023. So there's lead generation as you guys probably know it, which is your standard sort of sales telemarketing team, just picking up the phone and just one after one, just phoning again and again and again. And then there's a lead generation strategy that comes with value and education that will generate the right prospects for you. Has anyone on this call, just put it in the chat if you have, actually created a lead gen strategy for 2023 or even began to implement it? Just a yes or no would be great. Yeah, Richard. Yeah, work in progress, Mark. Yes, we have a system where we can add opportunities next year. Brilliant. Okay, good. Good to see that we're not standing still. Okay, have meeting this PM in office. Brilliant, Janet. Okay, so a lot of people, they start to stand still here, but whilst your competitor's standing still, it's a great opportunity to get ahead. So let's have a look at how to actually deliver a strategic, quality-based lead generation strategy over, let's just pick the phone up and dial as many times as we can. Because I'm assuming everyone on this call is busy. They don't have the time to make 200 dials a day, okay? We've got to first look at in B2B sales, what are two key elements of selling in B2B to new prospects, okay? First thing, we have trust. Secondly, we have credibility. The way the B2B market is anymore, the days of promotion, pitching are slowly reducing. And now as business owners, sales directors, marketing directors, we have to ensure that we are in front of our prospects before they even know they need us. It is so easy now to find a solution to our needs. You know, Google, we've got Facebook, we've got LinkedIn, whatever we need, it's there. But how can we really build a true business relationship with a prospect that we want to trade with, okay? And therefore trust and credibility and getting in front of them before they know that they even need us, okay? What does a B2B buyer want to know? We've just said, what do they look for? They want to know, firstly, capability. Are you good at what you do? And can I trust you with the work output? Okay. That's one of the most important things, capability. Are you good at what you do? And can I trust you with the work output? Dependability. Will you show up and meet your commitments? And can I trust you will do what you say? How dependable are you? Okay. Integrity. Do you have a virtue of purpose? Can I trust you will do the right thing by me, even when it might be in your self-interest not to? This is really important because sometimes in sales, we get lost, don't we? We start chasing the figures rather than chasing the longevity of our clients. Sometimes it's wise to tell a client, you know, Mr. Customer, you don't need all of this. This is sufficient for you. And that will build integrity with your client to create a long-term business relationship. And then intimacy. How well do I know you? And can I trust the strength and depth of our relationship? Okay, if you ever speak to someone who says a B2B buyer is interested in price, they're not. And if they are, for me anyway, they're not the right customer. Because if they're already talking about price before they even know your service offering and how you behave as an organization, they're just not going to be a long-term client. Because in 3 months, they're going to run another review of their suppliers. Someone's going to undercut you and they're going to go somewhere else. Okay, these are the 4 most important things when a B2B buyer looks for a supplier. Education over promotion. I briefly mentioned it there. Promotion, you know, it works. It's all good. We've got Black Friday on the horizon. Really, how much of it is legit? How many of you actually have purchased on Black Friday? I know all of our inbox is going to get full of promotional offers. Now, there's a lot of businesses on LinkedIn at the moment that are saying, you know, we're not going to offer a Black Friday discount. And the reason is they've actually clocked onto this education over promotion. You know, sometimes you can get lost in the noise if you just keep promoting, you know, 50% off, 2 for 1, free consultancy review, whatever that may be. But education is really important. So I always say to my prospective clients, what's happening in your target verticals? Is there a potential change of governance that maybe your competitors haven't clocked onto yet, that you can start discussing with your target market? So when you speak to them, you're automatically building that credibility, you're building that trust, you're building that integrity, the dependability that, you know what, this guy, this girl, they know what they're talking about, okay? So change of governance is a great way to engage with your prospects and a great way to deliver value. There can also be changes that are going to occur within the marketplace, okay? Government grants that are going to come out if you're working with certain industries. If you can get this information before your competitors and really start to deliver it to your decision makers and your prospects, they are going to start valuing your time, okay, and they're going to start value their conversation, because you can say to them, look, if you want to work with us, great. But the real reason I reached out to you is to tell you about this and how our product, service, whatever it may be, is going to help you overcome this. So we want to look at something that's in the future, okay, that we can really latch onto and offer value to our prospects with. So education over promotion. I talk a lot about value-driven conversations and educational conversations, and the 𝗟𝗲𝗱𝗆𝗆𝗁 straight line selling days are done. Okay, they work in certain industries, but probably most they don't anymore. I come from an industry where it was very that's what we use, straight line selling, and it didn't really create long-term relationships. A value-driven conversation is really important because, like I said already, people are buying experts. People don't want to buy a jack of all trades, master of none. They want to buy an expert. Okay, so what are you an expert in? How are you portraying your expertise?
Good stuff. I don't just bounce around all the time.
Click tick there.
Finish one thing.
Is someone off mute there? Sorry, just
yeah. Watch your video quickly.
Good. That's fine. Hopefully that'll be okay. So people buying experts at the moment, okay? So how can we portray expertise? Then there's the whole conversation of knowledge transaction. So what knowledge are we transacting with our client for what? So are we offering knowledge for their details? So a lot of people, for example, leave free resource on their website. I talk about this a lot as well. If you're left a free resource with no call to action, what's the point in creating a free resource? If we're leaving a free resource on our website, let's at a minimum ask for a name and an email address. So for them to receive that free resource, they have to download it, and then we can then go and have a conversation with them. So don't offset your knowledge for nothing, but don't offset your knowledge expecting a sale in return. This is top of funnel stuff, okay? We've got to get them into the funnel. So if we want to offset some knowledge, as a minimum, let's get the information of who's actually consuming our knowledge, okay? We can do that through blogs. We can do that today, but we are through webinars. We can do it through free resources. You can deliver speaker slots at exhibitions. There's loads you can do. And finally, a value-driven conversation is going to help you build trust. Like I said earlier, trust is really important. By having a genuine value-driven conversation where you're offsetting value, you're going to build trust. It's very easy for us. I'm sure people on this call have been sold to before. You can very easily pick up sales techniques, especially if you come from a sales background, which if you're in a sales and marketing role is very easy. When people phone you, they've got a script. When people phone you and they say, oh, I spoke to you the other week, you didn't. So why are you saying that? It's a completely pointless conversation. So having honest, open and value-driven conversation will portray you as an expert. People will transact something with you for their knowledge, and you help build trust as well, okay? In terms of building a key lead generation strategy, there are 3 core parts. Number 1, demographic. So when a lot of people look at a demographic, they'll look at the job title, they'll look at the industry, they might look at the location, they might look at the turnover, the number of employees. That's okay, and I think, to be fair, if you run a business, are in sales and marketing, anyone should be able to deliver a form of a demographic. Where the real expertise coming is actually dropping that psychographic. So I go back to the element of someone on this call was working with coaches, I believe, okay? But the coach is your demographic. What exact particular type of coach do you want to work with? That's your psychographic. So we want to look back at the data we have, at the information we have about our existing client base, and start to really use this time now in the run up to Christmas to really sort of, even if you literally pictures on the wall of who your clients are, okay? And you will start to build a picture of exactly who your customer is, because your customer won't be the whole logistics market, okay? Your customer may be 45 to 60 in the logistics space who has run a company for over 10 years, and they may have had a in-house fulfillment center, but they want to outsource it because of the stress. So why would you target a 32-year-old hotshot who's just got a logistics company, got a fulfillment center in his warehouse and wants to do it all themselves? You wouldn't. So the demographic part is easy. The psychographic part is where the research comes in. And as people in our industry, business and experts, we have to understand this. That is not a one-size-fits-all. Hence why buying bulk data is good, but how can we segregate that data? If you're buying data from corp data, from Credit Safe, from any of these data providers, they're providing you a list of company's house, typically. How are you segregating that person? Because just because they all work in marketing, they're not all the same, okay? So how do we segregate and really sort of create specific verticals that then have the next part, which is specific messaging? Because your messaging to a set A type client will be completely different to set B. Now, messaging is really important because I know a lot of people, I delivered a speech recently at an exhibition, a lot of people that have, and they haven't actually tailored their messaging for the last 6 months. You should be changing your messaging on a monthly basis, if not sooner. If it's delivering results, that's fine. Keep that vertical running, but what's happening in another vertical? Are we delivering another market? A/B testing. A lot of people, they feature and benefits through their messaging. They tell them about the company. You know, your lead machine was formed in XYZ. I'm a firm believer nobody cares. No one cares where your lead machine was formed. No one cares where we're based. We could be based in Australia. We could be based in the UK. We could be based wherever. What people care about, what are you going to do for them? What challenge are you going to solve for them? And what pain are you going to help them overcome? Now, to take back to old sales of emotion over logic. You know, someone buys into you based on an emotional sense, and then it comes in through logic, okay? That's when they make the decision if they're going to transact with you, okay? So we have to really identify the challenges and the pains that our demographic is going to be facing before we talk to them. A lot of people say to me, Coach, oh, you just picking up the phone is a very sort of scattergun approach. Well, it's not, and people need to be a bit more open-minded about it. We have a specific demographic, we understand their pains and challenges, and we're going to start talking to them about them. Have a value-driven conversation. Of course, if you phone up and start pitching down the phone, you know, you're not going to get any conversation out of it. So pains, challenges, and deliver this conversation through open questions. A lot of people use closed questions. These are typically weak salespeople who push people through a funnel. And it's very obvious when this happens. So large call centers will have scripts that are literally just flow diagrams, and they'll be pushed through it for a closed questions. Experts ask open questions because they can go in a 360 angle depending on wherever the conversation goes. Okay, so our messaging is so important to make sure we really identify the challenges before we conduct the lead gen strategy. So using this time now to go, right, this is our demographic. These are the challenges they're facing. What good questions can we ask as a byproduct of this? And then finally, delivering your outreach strategy. Now, delivering your outreach strategy is really important, okay, to make sure we get it right. And there are 3 key outbound lead gen channels, okay? This is outbound. You may use Google Ads, you may use Facebook ads. That's all inbound stuff. I call that web marketing. You put the web out, people come to you, okay? This is targeted outbound. You have email marketing, you have LinkedIn lead generation, not paid, and you have telemarketing, okay? And each 3 of the channels have specific uses. So I am a firm believer email should not be used to promote. Email should be used to educate. Okay, we know certain VPNs of certain organizations are really strong. If we start using specific words or even specific email addresses, we're not even going to make it out the junk folder. So let's send a very sort of normal email without HTMLs taking them left, right, and center, addressing the challenge they're having, providing a bit of knowledge within that email, and sending it to them and asking them if there's a chance for further conversation. You may want to attach some form of free resource to that. Or once they reply in the second email, then push them towards a free resource. So email should be used for education and familiarity. LinkedIn is to make sure when we message people on LinkedIn, you know, how many people on this call are getting their message from LinkedIn, they connect with someone on LinkedIn, accept it, bang, they've got a message through, okay? That's bot-like marketing. There are multiple firms here that run bots, and it's very easy now to tell. People aren't stupid. They can tell when someone's running a bot. So sending that connection request and then sending them over something relevant to them. So first thing about LinkedIn as a channel, it's to create relevance. It's to say, look, Mr. Customer, we know your market, we understand your market, have some knowledge from us, some sort of relevance. Prove that you are relevant to them, because they're probably getting bombarded from 100 different places a week, okay? Secondly, okay, we want to make them understand that we're beneficial to them. So we need to tell them in that message, typically 75 to 100 words, because most people see a LinkedIn message on their phone. We have to tell them that we're going to benefit them. We're going to help you by talking to us. Now, there's people get confused there. If you're talking to a business owner, their needs are completely different to, for example, a C-suite decision maker. Okay, a C-suite decision maker might be all about efficiency and delivering what they need to deliver, whereas a business owner may be a bit more of an emotional purchase because they may be going through specific challenges. So we have to once again use our demographic when tailoring our LinkedIn messaging. And finally, telemarketing. Telemarketing is a great tool to gather intelligence if done correctly, okay, and generate leads. So telemarketing, there's only one bad case scenario for telemarketing, and that is someone says they're not interested, okay? You'd be surprised in the B2B world, we don't do B2C, we only do B2B. How many people actually never, ever get angry that you phone? Because they've probably got a sales department doing it as well, okay? If you ask good questions, you're polite, you're professional, you're friendly, and you don't come across like you're following a script, people will talk to you. And if you ask the right questions, you will understand some ground level pains from them, okay? So telemarketing for intelligence gathering and then closing the meeting, the Teams meeting, the Zooms meeting, or the next step, depending on what your funnel looks like. Remember, this is top of funnel stuff. So these are the 3 key outbound lead gen channels, and how you bring them together is completely up to you, okay? So whether you create a multi-channel strategy using email, LinkedIn, telemarketing, you may even want to throw in some postal marketing into there. You may want to send some you may meet them at an exhibition, or they may be visiting at an exhibition that you're attending. You may have a data list for this. You need to build them part of your strategy. So how to create a quality lead generation strategy? We need to make sure our demographic, our messaging, and our chosen channels are correct. And most importantly, we have a genuine reason to talk to these people. We're offering them some form of value. What are we offering? Now, you guys shared your industries with me earlier. Pretty much in every single one of those industries, something's changing. The 𝗬𝗰𝗰𝗲𝗍𝗶 one hits me quite hard. HR, you know, with everything that's happening, there's going to be a lot changing in 2023. How can we get ahead of the curve before the other organizations start delivering this knowledge? What do we know as experts that we can start sharing with people, okay? So the 3 key takeaways from this webinar today, and I appreciate you guys joining us, is there is more value in your existing client base than you think, okay? Please exhaust your existing client base, okay? December is a great time to push your pipeline along and talk to your prospects. It's a great time to move people through the pipeline, whether that's from meetings set to proposal sent, whether that's from lead generated to meeting sat, okay? And number 3, creating a quality lead generation strategy will help you accelerate in 2023. Don't wait. Don't try to create the strategy in January, because you'll be 3 weeks behind the curve by the time you start delivering that strategy. Okay, so they're the 3 key takeaways. As always with our webinars, we want to help the attendees fully. If you do need some help with sort of creating and kickstarting your 2023 lead generation strategy, please just pop a yes in the chat and we will get in touch with you for a half-an-hour call via Teams or Zoom, where I can sit down and have a look at what you've done this year, and then we can pitch some ideas for you to carry out next year, and then you can build into your strategy. So if that helps, please leave a yes. And if you have any questions, please pop yourself off mute and feel free to ask any questions. But I appreciate